let's talk about time. Let's talk about the importance of time. Let us remember that this finite thing is so greatly and deeply important. And people have been talking about the concept of time for years. And on this channel, I talk about energy a lot. And contrary to popular thoughts, I think energy is one of the most important things because, as I say, you can have all the time in the world, but if you have no energy, then that time is essentially useless. But something I was just thinking about is how we value things so highly, such as certain possessions and external validation, but we put little attention to time when this is like one of those few resources that you cannot get back once it's gone. And I want to follow the format of kind of going through my journal entries because I feel like when I get thoughts out of my head onto paper, that's when I can really begin to digest. And I've got videos on, how to meditate or the power of journaling so that you can sort of implement that into your life. But for now, today, I want to talk about time. And by the time you've watched this video, by the time, you see how I say time, by the time you get to the end of this video, you're going to have a slightly different grasp or perception over how to use your time. And maybe you may consider utilizing it in a slightly different way. So, what I was trying to think about was just like how little we respect it and how easily we can forget that when a moment goes, it's gone. And what I mean by that is every day that you spend being sad, you're taken away from a finite pool of days that can potentially be good. So sometimes when you're angry or you're feeling low or your energy's low, you're not just having a bad day, you're actually taken away from the potential of a good day because there's only a limited amount. And the craziest thing is, we don't even know when our time's going to be. Yet we live and act as if, tomorrow is promised. So even if we were to calculate, okay, on average, you have 30 years left, you have 50 years left, and you actually work out how many days that is, how many weeks that is, you'd be like, wow, that's actually a fact. Like, this number is going to eventually come to an end, and it's something that's guaranteed for all of us. But sometimes we live as if tomorrow is always going to come. And the craziest thing is, we don't even know when our time is going to be. So I was pondering on this, and I thought I need to extrapolate it. Maybe I need to look into some of the thinkers and I need to understand this better. Why do we think like this? So, as usual with some of these ones, I'm going to go to my journaling app and I'm going to read certain extracts and then we're going to break it down bit by bit because that's the importance of writing something down. The way when you write something down, the density of your thoughts and the way you can extrapolate it is so much deeper than when you're just talking off the cuff. And I think this is one of the most important things. So I don't want to get it wrong when it comes to time because that is essentially what makes up your life and the experiences. And we want to all increase the quality of our life. And how can we increase the quality of our life? We can increase the quality of our time, the moments, being present. And when you're in that moment, really embracing it and understanding that tomorrow's not promised and it is a finite amount of time. So we move through moments, we move through life like moments are infinite, but every day is a deduction from a finite number. Every sad or wasted day is one you'll never get back. And this came from me, I was having a pretty rough time, The weather's changing, things are happening, facing certain levels of resistance. And I was just reflecting on that feeling and something just came to me. I don't know whether I was at an elevated level of consciousness. It just dawned on me that this frequency that I'm in is not just I'm having a bad day. That is one day gone that I'll never be able to get back that could have been a good day. The craziest part is we don't even know how many days are left, as I mentioned earlier. It would have already been crazy if we had the exact count, as I said, but we don't. Think about how many conversations you'll have in total with your mother, with your siblings, your significant other, your friend, And think, think about this. This one was deep. This hit me. I had to write this down. The last time you spoke to someone and you didn't know it was the last. That's how fragile this is. Think about it. Even when you were younger, maybe you moved house and you had that one friend, you play with them every day, and you just assume that's going to be the norm. Or you have a relative, and you never know when that last time is going to be that you speak. Even if you think about exes, if you think about old friends, there was a day where that was the last conversation you ever had with them. Meaning there is a finite amount of days. Meaning if you have relationships with people, whether that be intimate relationships, whether that be, on a friendship, platonic basis, you're only gonna actually see that person a certain amount of times. And as you get older, you start to realize some of your closest friends you see less and less and less. Because when you're friends with people initially, say through school, you don't have a choice over that. Like you just happen to be the same age, live in the same catchment area, you're born at the same time, so you're all in the same year. You don't really have much choice over your friends. However, when you get older, you start to realize, wow, there's nothing sort of gluing this situation together. There's nothing forcing us to see each other. And you start to realize you can see one of your best friends only a couple of times in a year. And out of that couple of times, if you're not really embracing that moment, you don't know when the last time is going to be. So it was just spinning my mind the concept that there's already a limited amount of time. And sometimes we're so deluded, we don't even appreciate the limited amount. And the fact that that last day is going to come and it's guaranteed for everyone you love, everyone you know. And it's not to be a negative message, but it's to be a reminder of how fragile life is and to embrace these moments, truly embrace these moments, not half heartedly, really indulge and understand that this is special. The opportunity to even connect with someone and you enjoy their presence, letting menial small things pull you apart. Just learn to let go. Acceptance, high frequency. Anger, low frequency. If you get in an argument with your partner over something so small, understand that you're taking away from a finite amount of beautiful moments that you could potentially have because they didn't, put something in the laundry, because they left something in the car, they left the cup out. You're arguing over the most minute details when this is someone you actually care about and you're getting this opportunity to share a moment with them. I just don't think we really understand how crazy that is. And if now, as I'm saying this, the words are resonating with you and you're understanding and you're feeling your frequency elevate and you're really getting that moment of appreciation, that's exactly where you need to be. Because oftentimes in life, there are things pulling at us from different directions to pull us into that lower state, away from our true consciousness and the congruency with the inner voice that guides us towards prosperity, to act as a person with integrity. So let me read further. The plot thickens. As I mentioned, you don't want this to be something that is negative. And there were Stoics of the past that actually had a terminology for this. It was called Memento mori, which in Latin translates to remember death. Not to be morbid, but to sharpen your level of gratitude, to remind us that life is borrowed, not owed. Now, any of you that are familiar with Stoicism or you're familiar with, certain philosophers, Friedrich Nietzsche asked, if you had to live this exact life over and over for eternity, would you change how you act today? And it just makes you think, there's even a concept. I thought I came up with this concept myself. And then I had to sort of read into it. But there's a concept that I came up with myself, which is kind of the concept that imagine when you were to die, you had to watch your whole life back in full entirety with God, every single decision that you make. How would you feel? And it goes along that the element of the concept as if you should conduct yourself as if God is watching you. Imagine when you die, there's that accountability. When you're watching that adult entertainment, when you're being mean to someone, when you were backbiting someone, talking negatively about someone, when you were simply procrastinating, when you didn't take care of your body and you didn't appreciate this vessel, you watch every moment, not highlights, not a condensed version, not a compilation. You watch your life in totality, full, everything exactly again. And you have to sit there with the person that created you. Shouldn't even say person, the entity that created you. And you have to be held accountable. And I thought that, and then I started looking into sort of the philosophers and the Stoics. And yeah, Nietzsche sort of he posed that question. If you had to live this exact life over and over for eternity, how would you act today? Now, mine wasn't the concept of eternity, but even just watching it once, something clicked with me. I was like, that would be crazy. Would I really just eat? Would I really behave in certain ways? And I think we have to have this internal understanding with us continually as we move throughout the day, because that's how we come back to the level of gratitude. Again, memento mori is not to be morbid, is to understand that this is finite. And even when you act in a certain way, there are reactions and there are consequences to actions. So, scarcity gives value, like diamonds, and moments are rarer than anything we own. Again, to the start of the video, I kind of prefaced this journal entry at the beginning of the video. Time is the only real currency. Money and status can be regained, but every moment spent is gone forever. Again, a lot of people talk about this. A lot of people understand the general concept of time and money. But as I said at the start of the video, I want to give you something that maybe you've never heard anyone talk about, and something that really hits home. Just to not here to preach at you or to like, but just more to raise your level of gratitude and appreciation for this moment. And it's a simple practice. Again, it can lead into the video that I was talking about in regards to meditation, being grounded. And what's the one important thing? Being present. Okay, this one's going to hit you. Presence becomes resistance in a distracted world. If attention is how we spend our time, then being fully here is the most powerful act we can have. So it's gone from amusing, talking about sort of understanding time, to concluding with a solution. Be present, appreciate the now. The problems are fleeting. That argument or that grudge that you're holding with someone. And I can relate this to my parents, sometimes you may be at odds with the people you love. I think about my mother, I think about the interactions that we have together. And when I look at it through this lens and I apply this perspective, and I think, wow, we're really gonna, are we really, let's say we have X amount of time left. That's already crazy. You know, we have 1,000 conversations left. Now factor in the fact that this could be cut at any point. So it could be 20, it could be 70, it could be 500, it could be one, it could be never. Imagine spending, let's say it's 50. Let's say I have 50 conversations left with my mother. Touch wood, that's not the case. How stupid and ignorant would I be to spend one of those? To spend one of those being mad? To spend one of those being at odds? How stupid would I be to waste that moment rather than cherish it? And it's not like this is subjective, this is objective reality. Every single person you know, 100% certainty, there's a finite amount of experiences and time you're going to have with them. Your level of gratitude and how much you appreciate that will be shown in how you conduct yourself in certain dynamics with people. People that are conscious of this, they're gonna let things slide that would normally, be something that may stir them up. So it's something to consider. Just think about the person you love the most right now. Think about the 5 people you love the most right now. And then think about a random number of times and moments you can potentially share with them. And then realize that it could be significantly less. If you're lucky, it could be a little bit more. But it is definitely, there is a number, there is a day, and there is a time where it'll be the last conversation you have with all of them. How are you going to act?